Being at 5 o'clock, I'll call the Monday, August 5th meeting of the Freetown Board of Selectmen to order. We'll start out with item number 1, discussing truck traffic and noise on North Main Street. Conway,
Okay,
could you just state your name for the record?
okay, Julia Conway, 15 North Main Street. And as you know, I wrote you a letter regarding our concerns about the trucks on North Main Street. There were 4 points. There was the cost, there was the health impact, there was the noise distraction, and there was the diesel that's, today, the air was filled with diesel as 2 trucks came off the road. And I also have, I just pulled off the internet, some data about truck disasters that have happened with these big 18-wheelers. And may I give it to you guys?
Sure.
I did want to tell you that this is just about the 18-wheelers. This is not about, pickup trucks, our school buses, things like that. This is about these 18-wheelers, and they've increased in their frequency over the last few years terribly. And we're very concerned. We're concerned about the structure of the road. We're concerned about our health. We're concerned, it's very inconvenient, it's noisy. I had a friend over a few weeks ago, we were sitting on the porch, you couldn't hear yourself think for the noise. I don't know where all these trucks are coming from. I'm not a truck analyst, but I do know that some of them are coming from Route 79, and that they can go the other way on Route 79 and go up 140 to get on 24. They can go up Chase Road to get on 24, 140 to 24. These are just rerouting the trucks makes a lot of sense to me. Because this is a town road, we can do this. The state doesn't have anything to do with it. So the suggestion we have is to get them off our road. I'm sure you've had a chance to look at my letter.
We have. Well, one of my concerns personally is that if we were to stop truck traffic on North Main Street, we are going to be diverting it to some other street. Sure. And the only street, Freetown being an area that is rather old with their road mapping, so to speak, there isn't a grid system or anything. Where we would put them would, in my opinion, end up causing just a larger problem. So with that being said, I don't see banning them from North Main Street as a solution. When we got your letter, I checked into a little bit about what's causing some of the truck traffic. And part of it is that there is operations on a gravel pit on Slabridge Road, that the license goes back 40 years probably. I spoke to the owner of the pit. Before I could even make a suggestion, he said, we try to have half the trucks go one way and half towards 24 and half of them go towards 140. Other than that, I think he's addressing the problem as best he can. It's not going to be a situation that's going to continue for years. It will continue for a number of months on that way. Another thing that, in thinking of it myself, what we might do is, there's a couple of things we may do on North Main Street that may not relieve the number of trucks, but may be cause for less of a disturbance.
What would that be?
Well, one of them may be to put a sign at the top of the hill advising that there is a hill, so that they can start to slow down quicker. There's a couple others that I would like to speak with the chief of police about possibility of doing, but he's been on vacation and I haven't had a chance to talk to him completely.
Well, I really don't know how adequate that is, because if half of those trucks are now going in the opposite direction, I can only imagine why they don't all go in that direction. I mean, if it's just a matter of exchange with the owner, why you can't tell the owner a little bit more strongly how very intrusive they are.
Well, to the point of having them all go one way is, once again, the roads of Freetown are relatively narrow.
Yes, they are.
And, you know, we could end up, we're just taking the problem from one, hold on, sir. Okay.
Well,
Okay,
just
hold
want
on.
to know, I just need to recognize that I've seen it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're taking the problem from one area and moving it to another, and we haven't solved the problem at all.
Okay.
I want to speak on this.
Okay, Jack.
I'd just like to,
If you would state your name.
yeah,
also.
my name is John T. Conway. I live at 15 North Main Street. Julia's my wife, and I have to endure those trucks also. You were saying you're going to have to somehow move this problem from one neighborhood to another, and I'm not really sure I understand that, since the North Main Street is a town road. Am I not correct on that?
Yes, it is.
If it is a town road, the maintenance of that road is taken care of through property taxes. Am I correct on that?
Partially,
Only partially.
yes.
Oh.
There's what is referred to as Chapter 90 funds,
Yeah.
and the state allots sums of money. I believe it's a ball figure this year. It's like $300,000.
So, but the majority of the roads that are not state roads are funded by property taxes, correct?
The general maintenance would be yes.
Okay, so general maintenance. So basically, you're telling me that my property taxes that I pay are going to fund a business who's using the roads that I pay for. Now, I don't understand why, if we have state highways, which are primarily funded, they're not funded by property taxes, correct? Am I wrong?
No.
Okay. That if, and I follow the trucks, by the way, all right, and they come down 24, they can get off at 140, state highway. They can follow 140 till they get to 79, state highway. They never have to come on any town roads whatsoever to make it up that street. There's no other street, town road, that they would impact that they're not already impacting, which is to mean that they go up Elm and head down Slabridge Road. That's already exists. What we're concerned with is they're coming down 24, getting off at exit 10, coming down a town road, sweeping around that corner, and all one of those trucks has to do is tip over at that corner, and there'll be more problems than you ever dreamed of at that intersection. And what I'm saying is, why not have them just all take 79, all state highways? What would be the problem with that? I'm unsure.
Anyone else want to make a comment? I have comments, but if anyone else want to make a comment?
Mr. Chairman?
Hold on.
So Jack, what trucks are you following?
We are following the gravel trucks that are coming out of the pit on Slabridge Road.
But there are Excel trucks too, Jack.
No, they're not. It's okay, let's not go there, all right?
Okay.
These are the gravel trucks that are coming out of the pit, that are over here on Slabridge Road, coming down Elm, making that turn.
Yeah, I'm just asking what kind of trucks. So you're saying they're gravel trucks.
Yes.
You're saying they're Excel, but you're
18
saying they're not Excel.
No, they're not, Julia.
They're not Excel.
Please
Okay,
don't.
Okay.
They're the
I just
gravel.
want to clarify.
They're gravel. They're
Okay.
gravel. We can see them from our second floor window.
Okay.
They come
I
up
mean,
almost to our second
Because
floor
we
window.
could, we could reach out to the businesses saying,
That's a good beginning.
requesting that maybe they go in find a different alternative
Yeah.
route or whatever. And I think that Charlie has alluded to doing that. But if you're saying it's just gravel, I'm just curious to find out if there were any others I know we had a problem with Stop and Shop, but I think that that's been somewhat alleviated.
Yeah, Stop and Shop has been a good
neighbor.
neighbor.
Okay,
They're a
great.
good neighbor.
All right, so
That's all I can
that's a
say.
positive thing. So
Yeah.
now I think that we've taken care of one side, and certainly we can start looking at the other side as well. But I think what Charlie said is that we're hoping that this goes away within the next 3 to 6 months. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah, generally, I think that would.
But I would like you to continue to watch what trucks there are,
Okay.
and if there are any other businesses that perhaps are getting off too early, or,
Yeah.
you know, and then need to go down South Main Street to the, you know, I'd like to know about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have noticed that a number of them are trucks that haul bark mulch, and I believe that those trucks are coming from Chase Road down here further. So it's not just the gravel operation.
I haven't seen any, to be honest with you, Mr. Sullivan. If you can point them out to me, I'd be glad to take a look, but I have not personally seen them. I have seen the gravel trucks. I follow the gravel trucks to their egress down here on Slab Ridge Road.
Mhm.
I also followed them up 24, and then they went past 140.
Mhm.
So I followed what they were, and I have never seen a bark truck
Mhm.
come down there. I have
Right.
seen this gravel, but not a bark truck. It's not, maybe my observation.
But the fact of the matter is apparently is that the operator, from what he conveyed to me, is doing his best to see that there's a separation. One of the things we have to understand is a lot of these haulers, these gravel trucks, are private or self-employed truckers who are involved in a contract in which the gravel pit operator doesn't have a whole lot of say in how they actually come and go, any more than anyone else would have a say in how someone drives to their business.
I'm not sure I agree with that, Mr. Sullivan, because if I were running a business, I'm sure that I would want to make sure that the people who were representing me were following the letter of the law and doing what I asked, as opposed to driving down a town-funded street versus a highway when they're both side by side. So I'm not sure why they're even taking a town street when the state highway is available. That's my biggest question.
Well, my point is, if you own a business, you can't control how and where, how and when people come to your business, other than that that is open for it. You can't tell, if you were Home Depot, you couldn't tell people how to get there, could you?
No, I
Okay.
couldn't, but if
That's
I was
my point.
contracting
That's my
with somebody,
point, Mr.
if I was
Conley.
contracting with somebody
Okay.
to do work for me, if I was contracting, I'd have to make sure, for example, when I was talking to the gentleman from the DOT, you'd have to make sure that some of these, I use this phrase lightly, these gypsy drivers, that their CDL licenses were up to date, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Well, within reason, I mean, I'm not
Well,
gonna.
it would have to
well,
be because
you're not
it
gonna
is-
stop, hold on, Mr. Conroy. We're not gonna stop someone just because they're going down the road to check the CDL license. If they aren't violating the
You
the
can.
law. No.
Yeah,
You
you
need
can.
probable cause, no?
I believe there's a Fourth and the 14th Amendment, Mr.
I'm sorry, but
wait.
you can't. I talked to them today.
Can I interject?
They can always ask to be checked.
Mark Krasovsky, Chase Road. To their complaint, I have noticed increased traffic on Chase Road, empty trucks headed towards the pit you referred to. If they're coming off of 24 and they're coming down the hill, they're coming down the hill unloaded,
Right,
empty.
absolutely, yes.
Which means unless there's snow on the ground, relatively safe, because you're dealing with trucks which are capable of hauling 110,000 pounds, that weigh about 35,000 pounds, have more than adequate braking ability. Not likely to roll over. I've been in the truck, I'm retired, but I was in the trucking business since I was 19 years old. It was 30 years, I mean, you know my experience. The DOT can't stop a vehicle without reason, does not have to have cause, it's not like an automobile, you don't have to have an infraction to stop a commercial vehicle for an inspection. But to specifically harass truckers because they're doing business in town, and the town does receive revenue for every yard of gravel that comes out of that pit. We get revenue from that. I believe the soil board puts a tariff on that. To divert the traffic, which is now going down North Main Street to Chase Road is unfair to the Chase Road residents who are already suffering an increase in truck traffic, because as I said,
I kind of
noted
agree
it.
with you. I kind of agree with you. I'm like,
And we
what
are
is this?
a rural town with gravel pits and forestry, and are we gonna prohibit gravel pits from operating? I
No,
don't think
But
that's
I
an
have to say
option.
something, I want to say something. I just gave the select people some really interesting data on truck safety and how many truck accidents and fatalities happen on country roads, it says, and they happen in the middle of the day. When they're coming up that road, today one was coming up the road, there was a trash truck on our road. It is a tiny road. It's dangerous when you have that much weight in a truck and people are trying to maneuver. It is dangerous.
I don't want to stop the businesses from having a business. I'm not concerned with that. I am concerned with me providing corporate welfare to a business through my property taxes.
Again, the same thing applies to all of the residents on Chase Road. Chase Road is a privately owned road. It's owned by the town. It is
Right.
not state subsidized. It is in extremely poor condition. And I think this is just something that the independent truckers can go wherever they want to go as long as there's no prohibition. If we prohibit trucks, we also have to prohibit a truck over a certain weight. You also have to prohibit grocery trucks. You have to prohibit fuel trucks. And, you're going to say local access only? I would like the
Yeah.
chairman, if they apply that rule, to apply that rule also equally and fairly to Chase Road, which I know isn't going to happen. But I would like it equally and fairly applied to all of the people who live on these small, narrow, dangerous country roads.
All right, folks, we're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to end the discussion for now. But Mr. Conway, in response to your request, we're gonna look into a couple of things that we may be able to do that will reduce the issue somewhat.
I appreciate that.
But we understand your concern,
I
but we
appreciate that. I
do have
appreciate you taking
a
under
major dilemma
consideration.
here. And
I do want to clarify one thing. I'm not saying DOT should stop and check CDLs. I just know that they have, and that they could. Not that they should, but they could. If you have a slew of gypsy drivers coming through in an area that is run by the town, the streets and ways, at least according to what I was told, that they have the right to do that. I'm not saying that they should. I'm just saying that it's like, yeah, is it there? Yeah. Are they going to enforce it? I don't know. I don't know if somebody would call them and say, maybe you should start looking at this. I don't know. I'm just saying that they could.
okay,
Okay?
Gentleman over there would like to say something.
yes.
No, I was talking about that. I'm pretty sure if there's a business also, the business does pay taxes to us, to the town of Freetown, which does go to our roads and does go to everything else too. So that being said, I'm just stating this. I've driven truck and I've driven truck a while. When you do outsource to other different companies,
Yes.
you have no ability to tell them where and how to do it, because usually you're struggling to get these people to help you out. Trucking is very, very hard to have people. I can understand if it was at nighttime, but during the day you're gonna have a very hard time trying to direct trucks. If it was night shift and they were hauling asphalt or millings or something of that sort, you could possibly have a good amount in that. But where it's day shift, I think you're going to have a problem with that, sir.
No,
I'm just stating.
I
All right,
appreciate
we
that.
need
I
to
also
move on
know
now,
that if you
folks.
park cars on both sides of that
Can we wait
street,
till public discussion?
It's real
here?
quick.
no truck is going to get through there. Okay? So, because there is
All right.
no parking
Mr. Conway.
on North Main.
Conway.
So if one car parks here on the street and another car parks here,
They'll be
which is
towed.
legal,
They'll be towed.
no, they won't. Why would they get towed?
But it'd be obstructing traffic.
Correct.
Not obstructing traffic.
Gary,
Not obstructing traffic.
Gary Mendes, Chase Road. I think if you did call the DOT, because some of these trucks are quiet and they run their mufflers like they're supposed to, and some of these trucks are hopped up, pushing high horsepower.
That's,
You work at the town hall, you can't even open your windows, can you? Because the building's shaking sometimes.
town hall is the worst spot in this issue.
I was in
Second
there and
floor,
the building just shakes.
Second floor. But that's part of the idea of trying to relieve a little bit of the problem, Gary's also noise. All right, moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thanks for all the good information.
The
Make
lease
sure I tell DOT about it.
for the department of, pardon me, for the Freetown Elementary School. The next item.
I'll make a motion to approve the lease.
Motion made.
Second motion.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2, awarding the bid for road striping services for fiscal year 2020 to Markings Inc.
We did receive one bid for that. Unfortunately, there's only 2 vendors in the marketplace. The other one didn't choose the bid. It was procured as it should have been procured, and as a result, I'd recommend that the board vote to award the contractor Markings Inc. Motion to award the contract.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
The next item is awarding of the bid for the exhaust fan system for fire station number 1. Bid was to
How
be
much is
awarded.
that?
I believe it's gonna be 14 something.
It was
The years-
18,000.
18,421.
18,421.
That's being paid for with a federal grant.
Motion
We had
to
excess money for the job at Vision 3, and the feds allowing us to use Position 1 now.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 4, potential study for the creation of a Department of Public Works. The item has been voted. I would like to see us try to get a independent consultant to come in, review processes, develop a plan for the possibility of a Department of Public Works.
Make a motion to accept the suggestion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The one-day liquor license for Thomas Chew Boys Club for their annual banquet at Camp Tom Welch. It's a one-day license to run from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
I'll make a motion to approve with the caveat that police, fire, Board of Health, and Building Department also sign off on this.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 6, South Coast Bikeway Alliance Bike Race on August 18, 2019.
Is anybody here from them?
They were here last year. This is a recurring event.
We had no issues last year? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 7, the Animal Control Officer's warrant for unlicensed dogs.
What is it exactly?
After dogs are supposed to be licensed by April 1st, I believe. After that, there is notification sent out to anyone who last year had a dog that was licensed that hasn't come in for another license or notified the town clerk that they no longer have the dog. She sends out a notice, and then she makes a phone call, I believe, to each one.
And she sent postcards out
She
also.
sent postcards. There's a reminder in the census form. During the census form, if they fill out the form, they'll tell whether or not they have a dog. She sends out a card, she phone calls them. After that, there is a list forwarded to the district court.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Donation of a wireless microphone and speaker system from Representative Paul Schmidt. Representative Schmidt recently donated an item as listed the value of $400 to the COA here for their use. And we are required to accept it or reject the gift.
I'll make a motion to accept the personal property of the wireless microphone and speaker system.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
We have some further contracts. We have
The markings one is a
markings.
repeat of the earlier one.
and the
It's,
air one is also one.
yeah,
You do need to vote to sign the
sign the
contract.
contract.
Yeah.
So,
That's the purpose
So-
of it.
So I'm gonna make a motion to sign the contracts for markings for road striping, air cleaning specialist for source capture, emergency vehicle exhaust fume removal, specialty vehicles for a new ambulance, Bulldog fire apparatus for a new fire truck, vertical communications for a cloud communications phone system, and WSP Buildings USA for the commissioning of the new police station.
Exactly. What is WSP Building USA? What is
So
that?
it's a commissioning, it's a third party that comes in and watches over and makes sure that we do everything right and we get the proper,
To do
that
the
that we're
testing.
paying the right amounts for things like that.
they do the.
They
also
oversee
do
the testing and the
Testing,
stress
too,
testing
yeah.
on the metals and things like that also.
Making-
Is the air cleaning different?
No, it's
Here?
the same. It's the
It's the
same
same
one.
thing.
Same, okay.
We're awarding and now we're making.
Motion to accept all the contracts?
Okay, motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Open meeting complaint filed by Patrick Higgins on July 13th, 2019, and proposed response to the complaint. The letter of complaint from Mr. Higgins is in your packet. Also the response. We inadvertently did not list every office and appointee for every appointment, which is apparently a violation of the open meeting law, as not having a clear enough agenda.
What is the action?
Well, the action, we're
notification.
admitting the fact that there was the omission, and we'll have to await the word from the Attorney General's office on the determination. But the letter is that we're admitting that there was the inadvertent mistake in this case.
So there was a mistake.
There was a mistake, yes. Like I said, it would be the list of basically 100 or more names and positions, and it was omitted. And so,
I'll make a motion to sign Brian Riley's recommendation from Copeland and Page to send over to the Assistant Attorney General.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Reserve fund transfer request from the Cemetery Commission. The Cemetery Commission has requested a transfer of $1960
$1,960.
$1,960 from the reserve fund to their budget to replace funds that they used to mow the Sonnet Cemetery because it could not be done this past month by the highway department because of lack of manpower. They're down to 3 employees, and the department when they usually have 5, and they have requested that. It's, what we're doing is transferring it to the finance committee. I do have a little bit of apprehension about the fact that it is so early in the year, and I'm wondering if it couldn't be something that possibly could be adjusted in the cemetery
Yeah, I have to agree with you. on that.
commission's budget. And if not, then they could come back at a later date. The other thing is, I don't know that we're gonna have the same situation the month of August also. No? Why not?
No, in addition to the highway department being down workers, Richard was also not available in July. He's come back at the end of July, so that specific problem has gone away again.
Okay.
I haven't been on the finance committee for a long time, but back at that time, you applied for the transfer request when you incurred the issue. You didn't wait till the end of the year. And typically, we don't apply for transfer requests, so if that process has changed, then I'm not familiar with that change.
Yeah, usually they wait until the account is down to a certain level before they approve it, or before we send it off, so.
Statutorily, that's not how that's supposed to work. If that's how they're doing
That's how
it
they,
now,
yeah,
then,
that's,
but you're supposed to apply at the time that it happens, so that's what we did in this instance.
And like I said, Michael, I'm wondering if you can't make some type of adjustment within the budget to take care of this unforeseen expense.
I mean, we can wait, but as of right now, the only way to make that adjustment would be to not mow something else, and at that cost, it would be not mowing a lot of something else's, because they're smaller amounts of money.
How,
I mean,
how often do you mow the other cemeteries in a season?
The smallest ones are mowed 10 times in a season, which works out to about once every 3 weeks. The larger ones, because they cost more, are typically mowed less. And some of it's weather dependent, so I mean, could we wait and sit on this until the spring? Sure. I just wouldn't want anybody to be surprised if we came back looking for some of all of this still in the spring.
Okay, but I'm wondering if, you know, instead of 10 times, if you were to reduce it by, we'll say 2 overall, would you be?
Again, it's kind of weather dependent, and we could plan to do that, but if it rained considerably in the spring, or if it rained considerably like it's done most of the last month or so, we might not be able to do that. I just didn't know this process had changed, so.
Well, yeah.
I don't mind waiting till the spring, I just don't want
I
anybody
think
to be
we, you know, at least wait until the fall of this year, and then as we, you know, we get into the winter, we can work and see what the numbers are, and then go from there.
Sure.
yeah, I think coming back in October probably would be smart,
Yeah.
because you may even do more mowings in September than you have done in July and
It's
August,
very
so.
hot. We've done more already in the summer than we typically do because of the rain,
Right,
so.
all right, so
I,
we'll just hold on
yeah,
that.
put a hold, would you mind if we withdrew that for now?
No, absolutely not.
Thanks, Michael.
Oh, you're welcome.
Ambulance rebates and write-offs for June of 2019 and July of 2019. And for June, we have contractual allowances, write-off is $25,038.75, and write-offs from Comstar are $36,747.63 for a total of $61,786.38.
The July one was stuck to the back of his paper,
pardon me.
so.
I
Oh,
read the
that- I only
I
have
read
the other one.
It's in
I
front
read,
of me there.
okay, I read the
Okay.
July one, and the June one was contractual $117,228.85, and Comstar write-offs at $611.18 for a total of $125,840.03.
I'll make a motion to approve both in those amounts stated.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chief Sylvia, we had spoken in the past about having Comstar come in
Yep.
so we could speak about the rate schedule and so forth.
Yeah,
Now that they have
they
re-upped.
reached back
so-
to us.
Okay, they have reached back.
They would rather do it during the day, but
Okay.
they're not against coming at nighttime.
All right,
But they would rather meet during the
okay,
daytime.
we'll work on something
Yeah,
in the next month. Okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you. The next item is from the treasurer, is a list of properties that are available. Well, she wanted to make town departments aware of the availability, and then if there was no takers, she would be auctioning them. I do see, and there was a discussion at the Conservation Commission meeting, the proposed transfers to other departments, the lot, map number 209, lot 1, which is off of Howland Road. It joins the landfill, and it comes up behind a resident that is on Rebecca Drive. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe it would be good for us just as an extra buffer. There's wetlands between the landfill and this property, but instead of possibly having this abutter buying this land and then having an issue later on with the landfill, we still have an extra buffer. It doesn't cost us anything, it's just,
Okay.
we just take it. So
Is
other
the
than-
conservation gonna make that recommendation to the board?
well, conservation wasn't really, they had the list, they weren't really interested in actually taking it as conservation land. And it probably would be better, understanding the conservation requirements, it would probably be better for us to take it and leave it with the Board of Health or leave it with the landfill. But other than that, I didn't have any.
How big is the parcel?
I don't know for sure, but it's under an acre. It's not, yeah, it's very
Under
small.
no circumstances would it be buildable today?
No, it's alienated land. The borders are basically the landfill, this property owner on Rebecca Drive, and other people on Howland Road that would have to come in.
So we'd have to do that as a warrant article for town meeting, I
I
believe.
don't know if
I don't think,
we
we,
maybe.
yeah,
yeah.
I don't think we have it in our purview to do it. We can recommend it and we can put it on as a warrant article. I think that that's the way it's been done. So let's just find out
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll just, my thing is just, it might be easier than having a headache down the road.
Yes, that's fine.
The other list, the rest of the list, I don't have any other comment on, so.
So we'll hold on that piece of property
Right.
and we'll, make a motion to have her proceed, further. Make a motion to, have Jessica, proceed with these land takings.
Second.
The motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The mailing to town residents. There was some information. Tim, would you mind just giving a little synopsis?
Yep,
What you
let me
found?
switch over to that. Well, I included in the packet the information that the post office directed me to. It was from the mostly from the USPS website that talks about the different restrictions and what and how to do it basically. Cindy also told me that information on the website is the current. So it would be an estimated $617.10 per postage, which works out to about 18 cents a mailing. It's So it's just around 3,000 heads of household addresses that they would go to. But there's still other concerns that the office, myself and Ally have, because you'd also have to figure out the cost for printing, time that we would spend compiling it, extra meetings that we would have to coordinate with the finance committee, and currently there's no money appropriated in the selectmen's budget for this purpose as well.
I believe we have, Finance Committee has
Finance
about
committee has,
4,000.
yeah, they have about 4,000. So that, based on the mailing that went out last year, that would probably be for 1 or 2 mailings.
Yeah, at least 2.
Yeah, I think the bill last time was about 1,600, I think,
Right.
1597, I think it was.
Yeah.
So if we were to use that same printer and everything, we could expect a similar cost, I would imagine.
So you could do the special town meeting in the fall and the annual,
But there is still the concern about, who's writing it.
and coordinating it and
How do we
making
coordinate
sure
with the finance committee?
that it's strictly not, it's factual, not
It
opinionated.
can't be campaigning, so we'd have to send it off to council, so there'd be more cost for them to review it. There's all sorts
Well,
of.
I would assume if both boards agreed on the language,
You still have to
You'd
be
have to-
careful with campaigning issues, though.
okay.
You can't,
You
try
can't
to
expend
influence.
town resources to influence a vote. That's basically what it
Well-
boils down to.
No, the point is to just put out the
Education.
facts
Mm-hmm.
and not opinions.
Right.
So that should be straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would it cost to have legal review the document? What would that typically
It would depend. It would depend how long it took them, how many edits they had
I
to
would
make.
think it'd be over an hour.
Yeah.
So what is that an hour?
I don't have that information in front
But
of me.
what,
but
for us, like
yeah.
185, I think.
Was it
something like that.
185? Is that
185, I
also?
believe.
Yeah, I think
yes.
it just said the same thing. So.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So, was that a couple of $100 for each mailing?
Right.
What it would be?
But that's already in the budget. We have a budget for legal expense, so that wouldn't come out of the
Right.
4,000.
Right.
It's been allocated for the finance committee to do the printing.
And Ally has also reached out to other our counterparts in our office from different communities. She's still compiling that information, exactly what they do, the process they do, what exactly they mail out, if they mail out, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a bulletin board that is on the Mass Municipal Personnel Association website, on the MMA website, and you're able to ask questions, and all the other towns are able to respond back on how they handle various and sundry issues that arise, mostly for personnel, but for other issues also.
Right. Also, the other thing we can look into is just to, instead of mailing it to every household, we can look at just a mailing list that we have for registered voters, which is a lot smaller.
The only problem with if we do that's even more labor intensive, because I would have to address every single.
No, if you have an electronic mailing list, the
Yeah, you can
printers
do
would
like a
do it.
mail
The
mail
printer
merge.
would
Yeah,
take care of it.
the town clerk should have a flat
Right.
database file that could
Yeah, she
be
said
used
she
to
could do
print it.
Yeah.
You'd take it as an ASCII or as a
Right.
Excel file and just
Mhm.
import it.
I think what Tim is saying though, in that file is every voter. So you would have to go through the file and do every
Also true.
voter
No,
household.
head of household.
Right.
It all depends on
It's-
how the
it's
database is
defined.
set up.
Yeah, I
So
don't
it
know
would be
how her
one per
database
household.
is.
But isn't that what you just said? How many head of households are there?
Right around 3,000.
3,000.
Jackie's estimate was, and that's also the same number that the post office gave as well,
For,
all addresses in town.
oh, well then
Also-
you'd be
So it
better off.
it might actually work out to be just about the same number.
Mhm.
Right, okay, if that's the case, then you're better
Right.
off.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, so
And I did reach out to the finance committee a couple times. I didn't hear back about what they discussed at their last meeting. So I don't know if you want to hold this and
Yeah, put it on the
Return it
next
again.
agenda too.
Okay, so
did you want me
I
to?
did discuss this with Finance Committee
Mhm.
Chair, and he was in agreement with this. If and you
Okay.
can still hold it if you want. But
Do we want to schedule a joint meeting with them for the next meeting to really hash this out, or?
maybe that would be good.
Okay.
yeah.
Hash it out, get it over.
We just want to get that question answered.
Item number 15,
Database.
Council on Aging and other building needs. George, you had spoken a little bit.
Jeanette Tisdale, Chairman,
Hi, Jeanette.
Council on Aging. Hopefully you will address the questions and I'll answer them. This was a surprise that I was called here.
Okay. Well, George had spoken about the fact that we need to move forward on a Council on Aging, library, town hall type plan. And so we want to address the building committee again. And so you,
We need an addition or a new building
all right.
because as you can see, it's messy. I mean, there's no room for anything. We have a new clerk that came in and we had to kind of revamp the computer room, which now has no available computer for anybody coming in to do their work. When one thing is scheduled, we have to bump something else. We have the opportunity to get some from the I think it's Blue Cross and Blue Shield that are putting out different health programs, and we just don't have enough room to have these programs going on the way they should be going on.
How many people are usually involved with these programs at any one time?
Anywhere between 20 and 25 people, sometimes more. It all depends the time of the year that they're presented. If they're free, you have a lot more people coming in. We have a couple of programs that are going to be available till December, which are free to the seniors. And we have to make another day because so many people were interested in it. It's the bowls.
Yeah, the drums.
The exercise drums. Yeah. They were at the cookout. I don't know if you had the opportunity to go. I think you were here, George.
I was here.
Yeah. And we've had to move things around. We just don't have the space. Barbara's office looks like World War III. There's no room for storage. I'm sure you
We got
come
so
in.
much stuff going on. We got, any particular time, especially January through March, we got the tax, AARP comes in and provides taxes to our seniors. Then we have the Shine, which is the health insurance that come in. And all we got is just one room upstairs that be private where they meet in a small room. So we're using the grocery room when we have two. But then you get the podiatrist coming in, and you got another issue. And that's a big problem. So what we proposed, we've been discussing, talking about an addition from there to there, just pushing this top floor out, and that's it. Because I know you want to bring it back to the building department, building committee, and that's fine. If you're going to do a whole new building, but it takes time. You guys, even if you meet with the building department, it's going to take 3-4 years, maybe more, even for the funding. Whereas we're talking about pushing what would be nice for us, and we talked this at the board meeting, if we just took the upstairs and pushed this out to the edge of the alcove out there and come right across, that would give us one big room. And we could divide that up into 3 small rooms with dividers in between, so that they'd have privacy when you had all those 3, services coming in at once as well as the other one. Be a lot less expensive than trying to go with a whole new building.
But my concern here, Bruce, is that's a Band-Aid solution, which is going to be
We're bleeding out now.
Right. All town buildings are bleeding out to be
Right.
perfectly honest with you presently. But my concern is, even this building, okay, it was built maybe 35 years ago, and now it's obsolete. We need to look forward to, 50, 60, as far as we can. And I think to add on to this, to be perfectly honest, my own personal opinion is to add on to this now would be just something where you're putting a Band-Aid on a situation when we should be sitting down and studying and coming up with a solution. So I would like to see us have a town building committee meeting this month, if at all possible, and start the process. We'll have you sit in and we'll work on that and see if we can't get a real solution to the problem, not just a short-term Band-Aid situation.
No, it's not gonna be a short term if it goes to the building department, I don't think.
Well,
It's whether you're talking, and I'm being probably conservative or not conservative, you're talking about maybe a $500,000 project versus a $2 million project by expanding the whole thing.
right, but you'd spend $500,000 in 5 years, you're back for another $500,000.
But I also think we have to be cautious, because everybody's throwing out numbers, and we don't even know if they're realistic.
Right.
That's number one, because in speaking, when we first started speaking about this, the whole electricity is an issue here. So when you do those kinds of upgrades, you're not just talking about putting something on the front of the building. You have to bring everything else up to code, whether it be, and that's a question, do we have to bring everything up to code? Does it have to be handicap accessible on all levels of this building? And those are questions that need to be answered. So we're throwing out figures, but first of all, we don't know if it's doable to do an addition onto this building that's gonna suffice, and that's gonna last, and that's gonna be what you guys want it to be. And number two, we need to get hardcore numbers. So I do think that we need to bring the building committee together to formulate something that may or may not.
Before we.
Can I just finish?
I'm
Sorry. So we can come up with a price tag or ask, we have Taylor on board, we have, the architect on board. First of all, just a simple question, is this doable? And maybe we use an expense of $5,000 to $6,000 to find out if they can do a feasibility study on the probability of building an addition onto this. And that's probably something we could do in the fall. Sorry, go ahead, Judge.
I was going to say, would you be able to put together something in writing that would define the scope of the project that you want?
Well, Lisa was right. We got a couple of different projects that are pending right now, and David can probably expand on one of them. And the biggest problem was initially back in 2017, which was April of 2017, our first thing what we wanted to do was put a refrigerator freezer over by the kitchen so that we wouldn't be losing all these provisions that we possibly could get. And that became a nightmare, in my opinion. 2017, April of 2017, we brought on board an architect, drew up the plans for $3,000 or some dollars. And then we find out, which I can understand, that's a possibility. We found out that the electrical panel would not satisfy that. So then we moved away from that and moved over to the electrical panel, and that's been, what, David, 4 months already?
Yeah. He has been, we have a number of projects going on right now. That is gonna happen. He said he got the second quote, or is getting a second quote. And as soon as we get that second quote, we'll move and have the new panel installed.
But I don't
The
wanna-
biggest concern was that we didn't want to install a large refrigeration unit
Right.
and spend X amount of dollars and then find out after the fact we don't have sufficient power
Oh,
in the building to power it. Right now, it appears, from what I've heard from talking to various people, that the wiring as it is somewhat questionable. Plugs are burning out, and
Well, if you remember how this was, well, you can't remember, you don't remember.
I remember.
You remember how it was put up.
Right.
It was
And
put up
that's my point,
real
Bruce.
quick.
That's my
you know.
point, Bruce.
But the building is structurally sound,
Well,
it's just that we
yeah.
have the infrastructure in between it,
Right.
so
But,
stuff like that.
sometimes the infrastructure, is bigger than the building. So that's my point. I want to see us do things, get a foundation on what we're gonna do, and then move on from there. Have the options, and to just put an addition on this building. That concept. I think we're gonna find ourselves having more and more problems. So I think we should sit down, have a couple of meetings, get a game plan going, and then move on with the game plan.
Okay, well, that'll, I mean, I guess we can agree to that to some degree on the addition, but we still need to address one other two issues, and David alluded to the fact that we got another bid coming in for the electrical.
Mhm.
Okay, but we're losing provisions for our seniors right now because we don't have a refrigerator freezer. The building inspector and myself went over to Rochester when he first came on board to look at that one over there, and we want to do the exact same thing that they have, and that's what we had quoted. And we did get quotes back in 2017. We got 3 quotes. Now, as you know,
What were the quotes?
well, anywhere from 18 to 14 to 20-some, depending upon how you went. You know, you can either go with an overhead refrigeration, or you can go with on-the-ground refrigeration, which is more money. So that was probably around 20, I believe. I got the quote here. But
What I'm not clear on is, what are your priorities? What do you really want first,
well,
second, third?
the first thing we did was the refrigerator freezer, I think, is important.
Priority.
Because we're losing a lot of, I mean,
Donations.
I'll give you an example. We get meat, we get food that needs to be refrigerated. And right now, we have nothing here. I mean, we have businesses in town that are actually putting those stuff in the freezer for us. You know, me being one. I bought a freezer, we throw stuff in the freezer so we can have it. And there's 2 other companies in town that do the same for us. But we need to get that freezer, and that to me would be a priority, you know?
I really wish I would have known that you had problems storing your provisions, because during the school year is one thing, but during the summer, when there's nobody in the school and their probably freezers are somewhat bare, we could have probably put a lot of things over there. So if you continue to have this problem, then maybe we could ask them for at least some space in there until we get this all figured out.
Once we have the electrical work, we have actually talked to Andy DeGamo about doing the architectural work. We've had a couple meetings up here to talk about how we're going to place the refrigeration unit, how we need to cut a door on the side of the building.
But that all goes back to the same scenario as what Charlie was talking about, the fact that if you're serious about doing something with the building, either you don't want to expand on it, I guess.
No, I didn't say that. I said, you were saying you wanted to put, something on the front of the building. We don't even know if that's doable. So that's what I'm saying. So
We don't either.
to even ask, to get the money to look for an architect to actually sit down and look at that to see if it's feasible would be one thing. I'm not sure it is, and I know that we have the feasibility study that was done, but I don't know the answers to those questions, and before I can agree or disagree, plus once you get to a certain level, you have to have a project manager, so that's another expense. It's not, you're not going down
No,
the road and getting Joe Schmo to come and build
we
a,
feel the same way
Okay.
you do, because we don't know it. Well, I don't know if you came in after the meeting that me, David, and Diamaggio was meeting, and the building inspector, to discuss that option in addition. And then, but that meeting was specifically, the outcome of that was to just get some funds to see if we could do it. Because I agree with you, because the way the building was built, we don't even know if we can do it.
right.
But until we get someone in that goes up in the attic and looks around and says, oh yeah, you can put on another 27-foot by 14 addition, we don't know that until somebody comes in and looks at it, and I don't know if we can get anybody to do it for nothing, that's for sure.
The Council on Aging did submit an article for the annual town meeting.
What's that?
You did submit an article for the $7,000
Yeah.
to do the study.
Who did?
You did.
We did?
For the annual, I don't believe it made it onto the annual.
No, it didn't make it.
And our reasoning was then, is that we
The
need to
same-
get a, we
Right,
need to get a
same
plan.
way now.
Right,
So
yeah.
we do need to have the building committee meeting, like the chair suggested, and go from there and have the people on that building committee make a recommendation that we move something forward to the special town meeting.
Or when would you put that on the agenda for the building committee?
It's so, David, you're gonna have to call a meeting and then we'll just put it on there. So it'll be all the original members of the building committee.
Okay, coming back to the building. What do we do in the meantime? We just can't service the seniors the way they should be serviced. For town hall, you've got X amount of people working for like 8,800 people in town. The school, you've got tons of people. We've got 2.5 people to service over 2,500 seniors. They need help. They need to get out, they need social, and we can't provide it. We have to cut things off, like, excuse me, but when you decide to have meetings, there are many times that we've had to cancel activities
But
for the seniors.
just to that point, like I said earlier, presently, the problems are that the buildings in this town are inadequate, and we have to prioritize. And what we're gonna try to do is prioritize the possibility of a council on aging building project, and we'll be having a meeting, and as you know, you're a member of that committee, and you'll be very welcome to come and air your suggestions.
Thing is I'm concerned that we can't service the seniors now.
It's a staffing issue. Are you talking about staffing?
Not only staffing, the
Building,
room.
No.
they don't have enough
Building.
facilities to
We
house
just-
every.
What type of
every-
facility would you need? That,
Not
Oh,
to-
I've got my wish list.
well, yeah, could we hear some of that? I mean,
A nice reception area.
Not to cut anyone off,
Bathrooms.
but I think what we need to do is talk that over in a building committee meeting.
And that is in the
Now,
building,
They do.
so
Right.
if
Oh,
you look
yeah.
at the feasibility study, everything that
And
they wanted is
we-
in that.
Yeah.
I think if you did, and since I've been on the council on aging, I think if you just be aware of, in the towns you go in, like I wasn't aware of it before I became on the council. Then you start getting involved, you know. But if you go to some of these other councils, and I realize our situation, because when Sam Ferry did this, he did it. He did it.
He did it.
Right, right,
You know, it was
right.
not here one night, next morning it was here. That type of scenario. But if you look at some of these other facilities and what they provide, when we're trying to do it, we're trying to provide the same type of services that they do, but our facility just is not allowing us to do it. But if you go around to these cities and you look at the Council on Aging, Middleborough, Rochester, I mean, they provide a number of different activities, breakfast every morning for the seniors or anybody actually. And, I mean, I became aware of it when I was in Rehoboth the other day and you go by one, you say, look at that senior center, you know, look at this one, look at that one.
Right.
And I'm not saying we got the worst, we probably do, but we do a lot for what we have. You know, and we continue.
To your point, Bruce, is that we need to study and come up with a solution to a space problem that the COA has.
so
We need to be
How-
on
how
a
is
fast
long-
track.
long-
So-
Charlie.
Long range.
Yeah,
How-
long range, so, we will be having a building committee meeting
Winston commercial.
in the,
now, are they will they be part of the
well,
discussion?
yes,
Oh, yeah, they're on the
Yes.
building committee,
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
you're on the building?
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Um,
All right, so we'll be doing that this month.
So
Okay,
we
not next.
suck our thumbs until then, huh?
Well, I don't have any magic for you. I know that. I can't. put
Hopefully
something
within
up
the
in
end
a-
of the month, we'll have
Yeah.
the
Well,
box here fixed.
You know if we're going to a 400 amp service? Do you know? Yeah.
I'm not a technical pro, I'm not.
That's what we
I know that
need.
Jeff has been like working with a couple different vendors trying to get people to come in and give quotes, but it is on the fast track to get done this month.
Last year, we serviced almost 17,000 seniors. with the new system that we got there, we can track exactly when they come in, they sign in. And last year, for all the projects we did, we had 17,000 seniors come in and out for different programs. So, you know,
That's 17,000 visits. That's what you're saying.
right. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a date for the fall special town meeting. And it was presented with two different calendars. The first one's for October 31st, and the second is for October 28th. And,
October 31st.
pardon me, October 21st.
Okay, thank you.
21, 28.
Um, The closing date for the warrant would have, if it was the 21st, would be the 28th of August. And if we did it on the 28th, it would be the 11th of September.
So this would be October 28th.
October 28th, yes, we would leave the warrant open until September 11th. Give us a little bit more time than
Alright,
if we,
that makes sense.
so do I hear?
28th is good. I'll make a
28th.
motion to have the special town meeting on the 28th of October.
Second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded, October 28th would be the date for the special town meeting.
What time would you like that?
7? Usually times 7. All right. That 7 all right with everyone else? Okay. Item 17, minutes of the July 11th, July 15th, and July 30th Selectmen's meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve July 15th and July 30th.
Okay.
Second that.
All right, motion made and seconded to approve the July 15th and the July 30th minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Since Lisa wasn't here on the 11th, George,
Okay,
would you
we'll
be-
make a motion to accept the 11th.
Okay, and I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Item 18 is police station building update.
So we had our 2 beam signings for people that were in town to come over and sign the beam that will be in the within the building itself, and those went fairly well. As you can see, it's getting more exciting because you actually see a structure now, and everything's on time, up to date, and it's coming along rather smoothly with no interruptions or problems. David, do you have anything else?
That's about it.
Yeah, it looks good. We're super
Things are
excited.
moving right along.
Yeah.
Looking good.
A great team. Again, I can't say enough about the team that was put together. They're awesome. So anyway, that's it.
All right. Town administrators report.
Okay, I have a few items. One is to let the board know that I'm working with LightSmart Energy Consulting Services. They perform the audit for the streetlights. That is done. We're going to start negotiating with Eversource to purchase the existing lights that are currently up and replace those lights with LED lights. What I'm planning on doing is I'm going to have them initially put up just a couple of lights and give notice to the board as well as the residents to take a ride by and see the light themselves, because there's a couple different options in terms of luminosity and the color of the light itself. There's certain recommendations that MAPC has made regarding that. We actually went through MAPC to do it as a well, it's not a state bid, but it's similar to a state bid. That's how we elected to go with LightSmart. But they made certain recommendations regarding the color of the light and the luminosity, and that we are going to be getting a reimbursement from MAPC, and we're gonna get a purchase, from Eversource of $6,100 for, per 25 cents per kilowatt, for installing the new lights. $31 from MAPC for parts and labor, total of around $9,000, $9,200. We're predicting that we're going to get savings that is going to be generated by that, and hopefully have a payoff of about 3 years on that, and then we're going to be saving money every single year. And I'm hoping to have the project completed by the end of the fall, so we're not going into the winter season. The performance reviews have been conducted on all of the town employees, absent one, an individual was on vacation during the period we did them. The department heads did the reviews on their respective departmental employees, and then I did all of the departmental head reviews. So that project is pretty much finished. I'm going to be the insurance advisory, not the insurance advisory, the finance team is going to be looking at exploring putting the health insurance out to bid in the upcoming year. We've been working with NFP Consulting Group. Kevin Pecos, former town manager, has been active with NFP and has helped a number of neighboring communities, one of which last year he helped save them $66,000 on their health insurance. And a couple options currently exist, one being there are a couple of our neighbors that are interested in joining allowing us to join their group, and there's also a consortium that's interested in getting new members. So we'd like to look at both of those options. I want to hire a consultant to help us with that process. Similarly, what I want to do, once again, a neighboring community went through the process of putting their property and casualty insurance out to bid. There was significant savings. I mean, like real, big dollar savings in bidding it out. And although it's exempt under the Uniform Procurement Act, it's a way to look at what we have and actually save some substantial amounts of money. I'm going to use a consultant for that too. I have a few recommendations regarding who to use for that. So both of those procurements will be handled by experts who are consultants in the field, and they'll guide us through the process. We're going to be talking about both of those issues. I have a finance team meeting called for August 27th, and I'll be coming back in early September to let you know how we're moving along with that. The new phone system, which you approved the contract tonight, will be installed in September. So we're bringing our communications up to date in terms of switching over from a Verizon or a land-based to a VoIP system with all new kinds of features, and basically allowing us to enter into the modern era of the blend between computers and phones, and being able to do a whole bunch of things that we currently can't do. We had a meeting with the department heads regarding the facilities management plan in terms of discussing all of the building maintenance supplies that now are going through the building inspector instead of being procured individually by each of the departments. We're putting a list of those supplies together and seeking out vendors to do that. We're also going to create a locked storage area in the basement of the town hall to allow us to do some bulk purchasing, something we haven't done in the past. We've been purchasing individually for each of the buildings, and we're going to get away from that. And Tim has been very active on the website in that he has developed a web portal for all the department heads to access for forms and other internal documents. On the website, they've all been given passwords and logins. The ultimate goal is to have the departments be able to edit their own pages, with Tim being the administrative control as our webmaster. And I just want to thank Tim for all of his work on that. That's it.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to personnel now.
I have a resignation from Craig Rosen as a Finance Committee representative to the Freetown Lakeville Regional School Committee, and also resignation by Alicia Fryer as Senior Clerk for the Finance Committee, effective August 6th and August 1st.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept those two resignations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appointments for Pamela Souza as Assistant Town Clerk, effective July 15th, 2019.
I'll make a motion to make that appointment.
To hold?
To make that,
No, to make that
appointment.
Oh, to make the appointment.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Katrina Gonzalez as Zoning Board of Appeals Clerk and Police Subcommittee Records Clerk, effective August 6th.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nicole Davion as Senior Librarian, effective August 6th.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Election Workers.
I'll make the motion to waive the reading.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And Katie Kalia, Finance Committee Representatives to Freetown Lakeville Regional Finance Committee, effective August 6th. So she'll replace Craig Rosen. Do you have a motion?
I'll make that.
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
And Michael McHugh to Building Committee, effective August 6th.
I'll make that motion.
And
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and also clerk and recording clerk vacancies we have for the Finance Committee, Economic Development Committee, and the Building Committee. Are those posted online only right now?
Not yet. They're not. Those three are not posted yet.
Okay, I have a motion to post those availabilities online.
I'll make that motion.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, I'll turn it over to a short public comment.
Oh, no,
Oh,
there's one thing, George, I don't know if you saw it, it's, that Derek wanted you to read.
Oh,
Did you get
Triple
that?
E. What was it?
It's about Triple E.
yeah.
Oh, what he sent out?
Yes, he asked you to read it at tonight's meeting. Hold on, it's right here. This is a statement that you can read
I
at
was
the
gonna say-
Selectmen's meeting Monday night. It's right here.
Is it a read up? I don't know.
Oh, you have
Is
it?
it read up the screen?
Yeah.
Here.
Okay, as you may be aware, Freetown and surrounding areas have been elevated to a high risk for Triple E, a disease spread by the bite from a mosquito. Freetown has been working very closely with Bristol County Mosquito Control to increase the amount of treatment in the highest impacted areas. We will also have a discussion about doing a townwide area spraying soon. Also, as another precaution, the Board of Health has elected to close public areas, parks and beaches from dusk to dawn, as this is the time that mosquitoes are most active. Just because they are most active from this time does not mean you cannot be bit or infected at any other time. Please follow these simple steps to help protect yourself and your family. Limit or eliminate outdoor activities from dusk to dawn. Wear long sleeves and pants if doing activities near higher impact areas. Use mosquito repellent with DEET. Make sure all screens in your doors and windows are intact. Call Bristol County Mosquito Control 508-823-5253 and request that your yard be sprayed. This can be done on a weekly basis. Check the town website and Facebook pages for updates.
Thanks.
All right. I'll turn it to any public comment. We'll keep it short if we can. Anyone have any thing they want to discuss in particular?
What about those ground mosquito tablets that you can throw in swamps and ponds? Is that okay in your own property?
Yeah, sure, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. I believe they are organic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are totally.
Yes, you can certainly do that. It's Mr.
I'd like to know if the board would consider bringing the Board of Health Inspector in to discuss possible regulation or oversight over the stockpiling of seafood processing byproducts, specifically quahog shells. My understanding is a large quantity of shells are being brought in from Sea-Watch International, often from Melville Boulevard. Created a problem in Tiverton 6 or 7 years ago at a property called Mona's Hog Farms, and I don't want to see the recurrence in Freetown. Specifically, if regulations required for stockpiling and resale. Because if they're being stockpiled, if they're being brought in and there's particles of flesh left on them, that's rotting, it's going into the aquifer. If they're being dried out by nature, so to speak, cured on the property, the remnants is in the ground, they're being trucked out, more products being brought in. Eventually, we're going to reach a saturation point. So if the board would look into that, I'd appreciate it.
David's making a note as we speak.
I believe I'm talking specifically property behind, I think it's in the 92, 93 area of Chase Road. It's currently a cattle farm.
Okay.
They're just dumping this stuff?
I don't know what they're doing. I see the truck going in and out of there multiple times a day. I also see trucks coming out loaded with shells.
Okay, we'll look into that. Anything else? Yes, Mr. Tripp.
The metal on Ridge Hill Road still, they don't sweep, whoever's sweeping that for the town, they're not sweeping that groove on South Main Street, Ridge Hill Road itself.
The groove, I don't know what.
Yeah, we did order them to go out.
Are you saying the seam between South Main Street and Ridge Hill?
Right.
Okay, because,
All the metal falls in that thing, it's still in there.
all right, we'll have a look at that, but. All right, anything else? All right, the next item is, we are going to go into executive session for two different situations. The first would be, on the list here, is in relation to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Paragraph A, Subparagraph 3, to discuss strategy with result to litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. The chair so declares XL Recycling Limited LLC versus Town of Freetown. And item 2 would be Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Paragraph 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with, and it says Freetown Full-Time Firefighters Association. We'll strike that. That was a miscue there. And it's Public Employee Union Local 1144 Luna Highway Union, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and the chair so declares. And just so before we get too involved, the board will be returning to open session from the executive session in relation to address a proposal by XL Recycling dated July 19, 2019. So with that in mind, I'll accept the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made and seconded to enter into executive session. Ms. Pacheco?
Yes.
Mr. Grunwald?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan? Yes. Having returned to open session, we'll address the XL proposal and make a vote in public.
Are you staying here? Or you
I'll just abstain from the vote, so you guys can just tell us what you're going to do.
So we are in receipt of a letter from Excel, making some offerings to us. I'm sure you all have read it. We've read it all, we've reviewed it, we've discussed it, and at this time, I'll make a motion to deny Excel's proposal and to move forward from there.
Make a motion.
Okay, I'll make.
No, you're not making anything.
No, that's true.
You're gonna go,
Yeah, okay. Oh,
Nope.
yeah, okay. I would just say, just to
you make the
open.
motion,
I made a motion.
Okay, yes.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions?
Abstain. I think you want to call a vote.
Done?
No,
we don't know.
we're in
We
open
don't-
session.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.